Assalamu alaikum everyone. Hello, क्या हाल चाल? Good to see you guys here. And this is the new us. It's a 21 day. Some of you are new to the space. So new us is a 21-day course we started just to discover the new side of us. And these last 7 days, we're going to be talking about parenting. How is it that we can look at parenting with a new lens, and whether you're a parent right now or you're not, whether we've all had parents, so this should help us recognize some patterns that we might have adopted from our parents. And the conversation should definitely help if you are a parent, or if you will be a parent in the future, inshallah. But it should also help us with our other relationships. So my child came this morning, and मैं अपने कमरे में काम कर रही थी. उसने मुझे आके बताया, घर में 2 लैम्प्स थे जो मैं लेकर आई थी दुबई से, और मुझे काफ़ी पसंद थे. तो वो दौड़ी दौड़ी मेरे कमरे में आई कि वो मामा मुझसे एक लैम्प टूट गया है. एंड फॉर अ सेकेंड ऑफ कोर्स लैम्प मुझे बड़ा पसंद था, एंड आई सेड ओह अच्छा कैसे टूटा. एंड शी सेड कि वो मैं बुक आगे कर रही थी और लैम्प बीच में था, वो मुझसे टूट गया. And I said, now in that moment, I had a choice. In that moment, I had a choice to tell my child कि आप उस कमरे में क्या कर रही थी, आपको उस कमरे में नहीं होना चाहिए था, आप जब बुक दे रही थी तो ध्यान से देना चाहिए था ना. कितनी दफ़ा हमारे पास बच्चे खुद आके बताते हैं कि हमसे ये हो गया, and then somehow we feel that we are, somehow we are conditioned to lecturize. Although the kid is accepting the mistake, but we would still go on and tell the kid कि गलत बात है ना, आपको वहाँ नहीं खेलना चाहिए ना, आपको वहाँ नहीं ऐसे करना चाहिए ना, right? So in that moment I had 2 options. One option was to take my conditioning, to sermonize, to lecturize, and give the child my peace of mind, knowing that nothing that I say right now will bring the lamp back. So one option was that. And the other option, and in that option, yes, I might not be able, I won't be able to fix the lamp, and I'll probably break the child as well, right? So बच्चा रोएगा, नाराज होगा, और उसका self जो है वो harm होगा, and maybe subliminal message ये जाए कि the lamp was more important to my mother than me myself, right? And here is another way to look at it. Another way to look at it is, it was a material thing. It had to be broken someday. It would be broken someday. And it's gone, right? It was a material thing. My child's spirit is much more important. And right now, my child has come and told me that she's broken the lamp and she's apologetic about it. There is no need to add another line to it. I even felt guilty when I said, "Kaise toota," right? And that's the entire conversation I had. "Kaise toota?" And she said, "मैं आगे दे रही थी." And I said, "Okay. Are you okay? Did it hurt you? आपको तो नहीं लगा?" And she said, "नहीं, I'm all right. But I just wanted to come and tell you, Mama, I knew it was a lamp that you really liked." And the less I said, the more responsibility the child took. And that's something that we feel that as parents, like I said, we are conditioned to lecturize. As parents, we think the more we say, the more responsibility the kid will take. However, in my experience of parenting for 6.5 years, and being a child for much longer, many more years, I realized that it's the silence which teaches the kids much more than the words, than the noise, than the voice all around. So whenever we're interacting with our kids, we need to figure out what our response is going to, what impact will the response have. Everything that we say or do can either break a child or can make the child's, can nurture the child's spirit even more. So I thought I'll share this conversation with you because especially when we're new in the parenting journey, we take so much responsibility of the child, and not only the physical responsibility, the responsibility of doing the chores for them, but also emotional and spiritual responsibility. We feel that this is my child, I own the child, I possess the child, and how can I not? I have reproduced it. It has come from my body. How can I not own the child? And I don't know how many of you read, but if you haven't read already, I want you to read Khalil Gibran's poem on children. And he says that, they have come through you, not from you. And I think that is such a powerful differentiation between coming through and coming from. We are a vessel. The child came complete in this world with its all the essence and the spirit that is needed for the child to grow up in this world. The child has come complete. You and I are just there to make sure some of the basic stuff gets done. But at no point do we need to own the child so much that we think the child has come from us. I am the source of my child, because we know truly, clearly that we are not the source of our children. The source was something else, someone else, and we were just chosen as a vessel. My body was chosen as a vessel to bring my child in this world, right? So how can I own the child so much? How can I imagine, and how can I think, and how can I even fantasize of raising a mini me? Oh, you know what? I have short hair, so my child must have short hair. This is the way I dress up. And if my child even doesn't agree with this dressing up, this is the way I have to do it, because oh my God, look at the way, so many times I've done it and I still do it. Oh my God, she's got Dadi's eyes. Oh my God, she's got, all these messages. What we're trying to tell the child is that you don't have a personality, you don't have an identity. Everything, you might think ye bahut extreme baat hai, but as we go in the 7 days, we'll discover some more of how these little things impact us, and where they can form a sense of connection and closeness. They can also they also tell the child that the identity is a little bit of mama and a little bit of baba and a little bit of dadi and a little bit of nani, right? We can do it, but do it till the extent till the child is able to differentiate that this is, this, yes, I get some elements of my physical features or maybe of some of my personality from my parents and my relatives, but I am a complete whole person. Sorry about that noise, right? Somebody was writing something. I just get flown away when we talk about parenting, so I'll keep coming back to your comments. The aesthetic side of home says, that's very true. One time my daughter broke a snow globe in the house, and instead of getting angry, I explained her why it's not a good idea to play with that thing, yeah? Sana Shamim says, what if the spouse agrees on authoritative parenting? Okay, Sana, so this is a question that would come a lot of times every time I talk about parenting. What if my partner isn't ready? What if my partner doesn't agree? What if my husband doesn't agree? What if my wife does the other way? Nothing. I don't think we can do much. You can't change the other person till the time the other person is willing to change. Yes, certain conversations can help, of course, only when the other person is ready to listen. But hey, if the other person is not ready to listen, you have the power, right? You have some control in your hand. You can be the best parent that you want to be. You can be the most authentic parent that you think you can be. And if the other parent makes a choice of not being one, then well, it's the other parent's loss. We've seen household, maybe many of us come from such household where the father, generally because we grew up in a patriarchal society, where the father was the figure who was not connected, who was not close, who would be more authoritative, and the mother was the warm, empathetic person in the house. What happens when the kids grow up? Now, if the parents, I don't know how much the degree of authoritarianism is there, but if it's a tolerable degree, the parents live together. When the degree is not tolerable, we know a lot of cases where because of children, parents have even parted, right? So I don't know the degree that you're talking about, but all I'm saying is we've seen that if parents decide to stick together in such households, kids grow up and they develop a fondness and a liking and connectedness with one parent. And I think that's your reward for trying to do the thing that you thought was right. And that's a loss for the other parent who was not ready and who was the more authoritative sort. I mean, I've seen so many examples of these, right? So the point is not to raise a mini-me. The point is to understand that we are the vessel. The child is coming through us, but the child will have their own personality, their own identity, their own unique spirit, right? We can't possess our children. And how much leverage are we giving our children? Are we deciding their course of life? Are we telling them that this is the vision, this is what they need to follow? And when you talk about vision, when it comes to parenting, I think it's one of the most important roles that we take up in our life to become a parent. Yet for one of the most important roles of our life, there is no qualification required, there is no degree required. You can have as many kids as you want, as long as you are willing and God is willing. You know, you know, I don't know if wrong is the right word, or incorrect is the right word, or absurd is the right word, or what is the right word, but see how, you know, it doesn't fit together. You're telling me I have to do the best job in the world, or not the best job. You're telling me I have to perform at a role of significance and there's no training required. You're telling me, oh, my instinct will know. My instinct will know whether to slap a child or not. No, you know, there is no importance given on increasing our level on, you know, see, because the idea is that when we say that the child is a whole child, that means we need to listen to the child. That means we need to pay importance to the child, give importance to the child. But how will you listen to a child when you've never heard yourself? If you want to raise a whole child, you need to be a whole you. If you want to, you know, so there is much more connection. People say, I gave birth to my children, and I always say my child gave birth to a mother, right? The day a child is born, a mom is also born. Just like a child is expected to learn the new ways, a mom must also learn the new ways if the mom has not done so already, right? So if you haven't given time to yourself, if you haven't heard your own voice, your own noise, your own you haven't connected to your inner self, how can you think you can connect to the child? It's not possible, right? We as parents need to take on so much. We need to understand that where this is an opportunity for the child to grow, where we think it's our job to raise the child, it's also one of the core ingredients of the relationship for the process to raise you. If you have not raised, if you have not elevated in this entire journey, then what are you doing? You know, a lot of spiritual teachers will tell you that it's not only a physical connection, it's a spiritual connection. You should take your child as a spiritual partner. So our old way of parenting was very, very hierarchical, very authoritative. I am the parent, I am up here and you are down here, right? Now that leads to, it's a parent versus child, right? And with the parent versus child, a lot of issues can emerge later on. उस वक्त तो बच्चा कंट्रोल में आ जाता है और बात समझ लेता है, लेकिन बाद में वो हमारी ऑब्सेशन ऑफ कंट्रोल उस बच्चे के साथ क्या करती है वो हमें बाद में पता चलता है. नाउ इफ यू कन्वर्ट, चेंज दैट प्रोसेस एंड मेक इट साइक्लिक, यू नो, आई एम रेजिंग द चाइल्ड इज रेजिंग मी, I am raising the child is raising me. That means the number of times I see this, something that the child is doing incorrect, maybe that's the number of times the child can also notice that the parent is doing something incorrect. And the parent needs to have that consciousness where the parent says, yes, you know, I was incorrect, I was not right, these are the things I need to improve. I think the best teacher that we can give ourselves is our children. If we allow them to take on that role, you know, respectfully, and I will talk about respect later on, but but if we allow them to be the teachers that they can be, how many times have we given the opportunity to the children, just by being attuned, just by being connected, for them to raise us on a spiritual level, for them to raise us on every level, on an emotional level. So we need to give that opportunity to the child. We need to give that, because होता क्या है कि हमारी अना बीच में आ जाती है, right? Our ego comes into play. How can we do this? How can a child tell me, मुझे तुम बताओगे, तुम्हारी उम्र से ज़्यादा मेरा तजुर्बा है, right? That's our ego. Every time you see your ego is coming into play, and ego क्या है? वो self image जो आपने अपना बनाया हुआ है अपने दिमाग में, और वो आपका environment बनाता है, आप खुद बनाते हैं. And we all know that the image that you and I carry in our minds is not the right image. Sometimes it's too aspirational, sometimes it's way down, but it's not the correct, it's not a mirror of our personality. So क्या कह रही थी मैं? Yeah, so our anna comes into play. Every time your anna is coming into play, you need to ask yourself, you need to train yourself to drop that ego. Every time, and this is what these 7 days will really talk about. How is it that we can drop that ego? These were some of the things I wanted to talk about. And also because, I talk about trying to lead and love and parent authentically. What it demands, being authentic with you can't parent authentically unless you are being authentic to yourself. And in order to be authentic to yourself, you have to start conversations with yourself. You have to start communication with yourself. If you're not doing that, then it will not serve us the purpose. हमें लगता है कि हमारे पास बच्चे आते हैं कि हम उनको मोल्ड कर सकें, हम उनको ढाल सकें, हम जिस एनवायरनमेंट में उन्हें ढालेंगे वो ढल जाएंगे. Similarly, the same level of presence the parent needs to give. You know, if the child has the capability, if you have the capability to mold the child must also have some capability to mold you in ways that you had not thought about earlier on, right? But not in, you know, at times we say our children bring out the worst in us. Not in those ways. Allow your children to bring out the best in you by being willing to be molded, right? Why can't we make our children our growth partners? हम क्यों नहीं उनके साथ एक बॉन्ड ऐसा क्रिएट करते हैं जहाँ पे वो भी ग्रो कर रहे हैं और हम भी ग्रो कर रहे हैं. You know, बच्चों को ये समझना कि they are lesser than us is where the trouble is, and that's the hierarchical traditional approach. Right? At times हम उस समय कह देते हैं ना, reason नहीं समझ आ रहा, and the child is asking क्यों आप मुझे मना कर रहे, क्यों आप मुझे मना कर रहे, and the end you say because I'm the mom, you know, because I'm the father. I've done that, guilty as charged. But we do know that that's a very irrational reason. You're just telling a child to obey you because you have reproduced them. I mean, big deal. What was your role, right? There's a creator who did everything. You didn't manufacture the nose, you didn't put the eyes, you didn't put the lips, you didn't put the lungs and the heart and the ribs and the kidney and the everything else, right? So why are you over significant, you know, why are you giving yourself this extra importance where your role was just to be a vessel I mean, think about this entire process of birth, and I think women can relate very well. What in this, isn't the process of birth extremely spiritual? Doesn't it connect you to a higher being? Just because you see this miracle happening through your body and you know you're not doing anything in it except for, you know, food and water, you're not doing anything, and yet the body produces a masterpiece. At least it's a masterpiece to us and the creator, right? A masterpiece, and that tells you how less of a role we had in ensuring that the child comes into this world, right? And how there is a bigger power which is managing it all. So the equation where you give the child, okay, parents, the child is lesser than the parent, that is where the trouble starts. We need to take these children on board as partners, and so that we can grow, and in the process they grow as well. So the important challenge is not only the important challenge, those of you who came here because you thought I'm going to give you tips on how to discipline a child and give them a timeout and, you know, slap them once a day, all of that, none of that is happening. Because in order to raise a child, we need to raise ourselves. And these 7 days of this parenting series are going to talk about how much have you raised yourself? How much has your parenting journey raised you, elevated you, grown you? And these are the questions which can be tough, hard, but we got to ask them. So the trouble also is, you know, we're all raised instinctively, right? We got an instinct कि ऐसे करना चाहिए और हम ऐसे कर लेते हैं. कुछ हमारी instinct होती है और instinct भी conditioned होती है, environment सिखाता है. So environment ने सिखाया कि 10 दफ़ा बात नहीं माने तो एक लगा दो, तो हमें भी यही तरीका. We don't know any other way, right? किताब हमने पढ़ी नहीं, हम दूसरे culture से expose नहीं हुए. Neither did we read the books, nor did we expose ourselves to different cultures. जो culture obedience, subservience दिखाता है, मैं बड़ा पसंद आता है. I was listening to somebody who said, you know, I went to Japan and the kids would bow, and they're so nice. The kids don't scream and shout, but when they listen to this conversation, you know, when you open their minds to being their authentic self, a lot of the adults would tell you how emotionally dead they are, because they were never allowed to express themselves in a way a normal human demands expression. So जहाँ पे आपको लगता है कि बहुत ज़्यादा obedience है और बहुत ज़्यादा subservience है और ये बहुत कमाल बात है, ये कोई ज़्यादा कमाल बात नहीं है. Yes, there needs to be a mannerism of expression of the emotion by the child, and that the child learns over it with time, with your guidance, definitely. But you know, there's some things that we need to take care of. So what happens is that हम सब ऐसे पले बड़े instinctively, unconsciously, in other words, कि हमें वही तरीका आता है. So it's time that we realize that, you know, whatever our parents did, they did it with the best of their intention, did it with the best of their knowledge, and that's okay. We're not going to hold a grudge against them. But when we know better, we do better. And in this day and age, you and I need to know better. There is so much out there that we need to expose ourselves to, that we need to read up on, that we need to, or maybe just try to understand ourselves, connect with ourselves, so we can raise connected individuals, right? So giving the power, like I said, ke parent versus child nahi hai, it is parent with the child. We need to take our kids on board on this journey of growth together. So like I said, you know, when you gave birth to a child, the child also gave birth to you. So जो parental metamorphosis है, वो क्या हुआ है, वो कैसा हुआ है, और वो क्या वाकई authenticity की तरफ आपको लेके जा रहा है, या आपको authenticity की तरफ नहीं लेके जा रहा, right? So a lot of the answers, a lot of the questions that and you're welcome to send me as many questions related to parenting as you'd like, but please know that a lot of times it's more mirror holding, it's more looking at yourself and what you have created, rather than pointing at your children and thinking, you know, ye kaisa bachcha hai. And lastly, I want to talk about kabhi somebody asked me कि यार well, I was pregnant, somebody asked me a question, what kind of a child, you know, what do you think, how will the child look like? How will the child look like you? Will the child look like your husband? How will the child behave? किस तरीके का होगा बच्चा या किस तरीके की होगी बच्ची? And I remember being absolutely clueless. I could not bring a visual in my mind. Absolutely not a visual. Nothing to do with the behaviors, right? Because, and I'm so glad, उस वक्त मैं कहती थी कि मैं कैसी माँ हूँ, मुझे समझ ही नहीं आ रही कि, you know, my ideal child, what would be my ideal child? And a lot of times later on I realized that the struggle is when you've imagined an ideal child, but the child who comes into this world is a real child, right? And that clash happens कि मैंने तो सोचा था कि मेरा बच्चा तमीज़ से मैं उसे डांटूं या मैं उसे समझाऊंगी और वो बैठ जाएगा. You know, क्या होती हैं कैलेंडर की जो तस्वीरें होती हैं वो बन जाती है ना कि once I become a parent, this is how my life will be. मेरा बच्चा सुकून से बैठेगा, मेरा बच्चा गाने गुनगुनाएगा और मैं उसके साथ बाग में लेटूंगी और लॉन में लेटूंगी और हम, you know, रात को तारे गिनेंगे. And nothing of that happens. When you become a parent, you realize that the windows, the opportunity for those moments is very, very little, and you're probably exhausted by the time you get that opportunity also. So I thank God that I never had this vision of an ideal child. But जब बच्चा आ जाता है और आप उसको दुनिया में देखते हैं और आप कहते हैं कि अच्छा ये देखो ये ऐसा है और वो साथ वाला बच्चा कितना बेहतर है, या वो क्लास का बच्चा कैसे बात सुनता है, एंड देन वी कॉन्स्टेंटली ट्राई टू टेल द चिल्ड्रन, राइट, कि वो देखो वो कितना बेहतर है, वो देखो वो कितना बेहतर है. व्हाट वी बेसिकली डूइंग इज कि आपके दिमाग में एक और बच्चा बन गया है जो कि एक अच्छा बच्चा है, जो कि एक आइडियल बच्चा है, और अब कॉन्स्टेंटली बैटल ये है कि मेरा बच्चा ये आइडियल बच्चा क्यों नहीं है. इस बैटल से हमने बाहर निकलना है, और इस बैटल से हमने बाहर इस तरह निकलना है, जितनी बात हमने इस कोर्स में पिछले 2 हफ्तों में की है वो क्या थी, प्रेजेंट मोमेंट. ये अभी का मोमेंट, इस मोमेंट में मेरे पास क्या है, मैंने इंतज़ार नहीं करना 20 साल के वो जब मुझे ऐसा बच्चा मिलेगा जो मेरी सारी बातें माने, जो मोहब्बत से बात करे, जो मुस्कुराए मुझे देख के, मॉर्निंग हक दे, गुड नाइट हक दे, ब्रश भी खुद कर ले. जब मुझे ऐसा बच्चा मिलेगा तब मैं उससे बहुत मोहब्बत करूंगी. दैट्स समथिंग वी आर नॉट गोइंग टू डू. Right? We've learned in this course that what's important is the now, right now. Yeah? And in that right now, it says, okay, no, you know, Asma, whatever your vision was of a great child, throw it away, because this is the child you have. अब खामखाई में उस विजन के साथ अपना दिमाग लगाना और लड़ते रहना constantly is going to be harmful for us, right? So we need to, अगर तो आपके दिमाग में कोई ऐसा विजन था या कोई ऐसा ख्याल है कि ये ऐसे नहीं ऐसे होना चाहिए था, उसको निकालना होगा और ये तस्लीम करना होगा कि मेरे पास इस वक्त ये बच्चा है और इस बच्चे के साथ, you know, what is the challenge that this kid is throwing on me, and let me just solve the now. Let me just not go in the past and the future and say हाय अगर आज इसने झूठ बोल दिया इस बात पे तो ये तो अगले 25 साल तक एक झूठा इंसान और ये चोर बन जाएगा मेरा बच्चा and you know you pull your hair on that. No, अभी जिस बात पे झूठ बोला है, let's just talk about that and let's not attach any futuristic thoughts with that. You know, let's not project your emotions there, and we'll talk about this later on. But the idea that this is the now, this is the child that you have. ये moment है, ये आपको बच्चा मिला है, right? और इस बच्चे के साथ अभी जो challenge आ रहा है उसका अभी क्या हल होगा. That's what we need to do. So in the next these 7 days, we want to be in our present moment. And those of you who are not parents as yet, I think it's hugely important, because hopefully you won't be able to do the damage that we all did and you know somehow keep on doing because we know so less. So I hope this really you know helps us in understanding कि ये parenting journey जो है इसका विजन कुछ होना चाहिए. जैसे हम कह रहे थे कि सब नौकरियों में, सब रोल में हम कहते हैं, हम सारे पेरेंट्स मानते हैं कि सबसे बड़ा, सबसे अहम रोल है, लेकिन जिस तरीके से एक नौकरी में होता है ना कि इदारे का, ये आप बिजनेस स्टार्ट करते हैं तो आप उसका विजन तस्वुर करते हैं, आप उसकी वैल्यूज सोचते हैं, लेकिन जब हम पेरेंटिंग जर्नी की बात करते हैं तो क्या है आपका पेरेंटिंग विजन. यू नो व्हाट इज योर विजन फॉर योर चाइल्ड, फॉर दिस जर्नी, नॉट फॉर योर चाइल्ड but for this journey. What is your parenting mission? आपका mission क्या है parenting का? Have you put it down somewhere? Is it even clearly laid out in your head? No, because we think बनेंगे माँ बाप तो कर लेंगे, you know, जैसे हम बच्चा पैदा हो जाता है ऐसे बच्चा पल भी जाएगा. And those of you who parents know this much more कि जैसे पैदा होता है ऐसे पलता नहीं है. पैदा होने में बहुत ही कम हमारा कोई किरदार है, लेकिन पालने में हमारा किरदार अगेन आई थिंक उसको भी हम ओवर से इम्पोर्टेंस देते हैं. अगर हम कम कर दें और समझें कि हमने लेक्चर सरमन नहीं देना, इसके अंदर सारे जवाब हैं, यू नो वी आर पार्टनर्स टू ईच अदर, एंड हम वो जवाब अपनी अपनी गुफ्तगू से, अपने किरदार से वो निकलते आएंगे, देन द गेम विल चेंज. Right? So think about your parental mission. If you're not a parent right now, when you become a parent, what is the mission that you'll be after? And think about that when you think of, and think about the child that you have, right? Not the child that you would imagine, that you were imagining to have. So yeah, I mean, let's just close the conversation with understanding कि the core primary reason इस दुनिया में बच्चे के आने का क्या है कि पेरेंट की ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन हो. That is the core reason. The core reason is कि parental transformation हो, and secondary reason है कि बच्चा raise हो. Because जब parental transformation होगी तो automatically the child, the raising will be different, and the raising will be far much better than what we're currently doing. So the more aware we are, the more connected we are, the more we know ourselves, the more we're conscious, the more we're self-aware, that we're self-aware, the better the raising will be. But allow yourself this transformation with this journey. Don't deprive yourself. Don't just become an operational parent who takes the kid to the classes, gives him food, gives him a shelter, gives him clothes, एक क्लास से उठा के दूसरी क्लास से उठा के तीसरी. This is an operational parent. You and I are not here to be connected on a very tactical level, because that's no connection at all. We need to be connected at the core, with the essence of the child, with the spirit of the child. And for that, this is important to know and to learn that मेरे और आपका ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन होना है, और सेकेंडरी है उस बच्चे को रेस करना. So that's it for today. I will see you guys tomorrow. If you have any questions, any thoughts on what we talked about, I can wait for another minute and we can see what is it that you have in mind. I know शुरू में ये conversation ज़रा मुश्किल लगती है. थोड़ा लगता है कि ये कभी सुना नहीं कि हमारा काम इतना बच्चा पालना नहीं है जितना बच्चे का काम माँ बाप को पालना है. So it sounds a little different, and I get it, but it's okay. It's okay. You don't have to. You can be a rebel parent. You don't have to do what the world is doing. You can swim against the stream, and you can find your way, and you can really live a life in a way where you respect the inner child much. You respect the inner self of the child much more than the outer self. So that's it. So like I said, when it comes to parenting, I will keep on going on and on and on and on, because there's so much damage. There's so much, not hopefully irreversible damage, but itni sari hum galtiyan karte hain, and we learn so much from those mistakes. So that's it for today, and I will inshallah ta'ala see you all tomorrow. In the meanwhile, tonight, think of the way you were raised. Think of the way your parents raised you, your caregivers raised you. Are there any things, any patterns that you've inherited from them? Even in your personality, these could be good patterns, bad patterns, both. But what is it that you've taken on just completely unconsciously? It's become a part of you just because you've never thought about it. And if you're a parent, see how it's affecting your parenting journey. And if you're not a parent, see how it's affecting the other areas of your life, the other relationships, things that you've just taken on very, very unconsciously. And now you think they're part of your personality. Take care. Thank you for listening. I will, inshallah ta'ala, see you guys tomorrow. And I hope you're following our Beyond Filters, those of you who are interested, because tomorrow we have Amtul Baveja from Patangir. So we will do the interview and we will have the new us. Whether I do the new us before, I don't know, Amtul, what time is Amtul on? I think she's on at 10. So if we do the new us before that or after that, it'll be up on the story. So take care. See you tomorrow. Khudafis.